If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.
Get first crack at being the backup, and how important is he this offseason? Because there's the possibility the Braves might choose to exercise his right and stay around.
Well, you make a good point. I mean, Anthony Allen goes from third and mostly in the injured reserve because you had two veteran guys, potentially number one if something happens. Every backup player is an injury away, a play away from being the guy. So we really think a lot of him. We think a lot of Damian Berry. I think they're going to have very good seasons, but we've got to look at some insurance too. We've got to have more than two running backs on the roster, so we'll add some guys.
Brandon Jacobs, he's out there. He's somebody that can get on the list.
He's on a list. Brandon Jacobs is definitely on a list.
Have you talked to Ricky since he retired? Have you had any dialogue?
Not since a couple days after. Where is he? Is he in the United States?
I'm not exactly sure.
Ricky, where are you? We're looking for you, Ricky Williams.
What was that like?
Ricky was awesome. Ricky was tremendous. I learned a little yoga, a little meditation, some fruits I hadn't been familiar with.
Okay.
That we had ordered into the building.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's a normal guy. A lot of great conversations. Hard working guy. Knows pass protection inside and out. Ball player. Straight up ball player. Great guy.
Are there any specific rules, being part of the subcommittee that you kind of champion and feel passionate about, or rules that you don't want to see happen?
Yeah, I was in charge of all the rule changes this year in the National Football League. I championed a number of them. All the ones that'll pass, I'll be the ones that I didn't think there was anything too controversial this year. You want me to comment on which ones I like and don't like?
Sure.
Personally, I think the overtime sudden death is fine. I think sudden death is what makes the national. Kevin's grimacing over there. Did you see him get alerted? I probably shouldn't say this.
You're all right,
but we had a seminar yesterday. They said if you have to say I probably shouldn't say this, you probably shouldn't say it. I'm a sudden death guy. So I like sudden death. And I don't know how the Ravens are going to vote right now, but my 2 cents says sudden death. It's been around forever. It's worked out pretty good. But we said that last year, so that's where we're at.
You feel that way when you lose the coin toss?
Absolutely, because you know what happens? Here's the great thing about that, Nestor. You cover a kick, you play great defense, you get the ball right around the 50, now you have the advantage. So I think it's a wash. I really do. To me, there's a little bit of an advantage to the team that gets the ball second if there's a field goal kick, because they get a chance to march the ball down the field in 4 downs. When you talk about an advantage of the offense, that's a staggering advantage for the offense on the second series, if it comes to that.
So do you think if you won the coin toss, that you would opt to play defense first?
It's possible. A lot more strategy comes into it this way. Yeah, definitely. Especially if you have to play defense the way we've played it historically.
Right.
It's possible.
The last guy that did.
Yeah. He's a good guy.
Still bring that up 10 years later.
Yes, now he's an assistant in Philadelphia. Leave it. Where's the camera? Leave it to the Philly guy to bring up an overtime game from 10 years ago. Never forget. He said, "Just saying." That's Paul Domowitch. Where are we in cap space?
No, do you feel like there's still some room to do some things, or do you feel like you're going to have to make some moves, whether it's restructuring, release a guy, or kind of accelerate the Flacco and Rice talks to be able to get some room and to fill some holes?
Well, we still have a little bit of room. What the number is exactly, I can't tell you. We're here. We haven't really talked about it yet. But, off the top of my head, my math says we got a few dollars left, so we could do something. But I don't think anything's going to happen the next day. If we need to do some things, we can be creative and create some things. One thing about when you have to create space, so you're kicking the can down the road. You are pushing the problem forward. Steve uses credit card analogy. You're basically buying credit, but it's not a bad thing to do if you can add a couple players to help your team, especially long term.
You're amongst your fellow coaches here. Have you guys talked about Sean Payton at all and the reaction just to losing one of your guys for a year?
No. We haven't really had that conversation.
Really?
We've been too busy with all these other important things.
Mm-hmm.
You mean like between meetings?
Well, yeah.
You mean like in our free time?
And if one of us gets canned, we're going to talk about each other more. It's just saying, oh my gosh, can't believe that happened. But for you guys, or just your personal reaction to what the league has done, and obviously made a statement here.
Well, I support the league, and Sean's a great friend. We worked together. We coached against each other in the 80s at Cincinnati and Miami. Worked together in Philly. And think he's a great coach, and he'll be back, winning a bunch of football games. But I respect what the league did. I respect what Roger did. I think it sends a message. It's a strong statement. It's smart. It's courageous, and it's the right thing to do. And I know one thing: we, like everybody else, will fight like crazy to make sure that that's not an issue in the future. But it's an important statement to make. Player safety is the #1 issue. Integrity of the game. It's important.
When you went to work for Andy 13 years ago, did you ever envision you'd still be on the job 13 years
That Andy would still be on the job 13 years later? I was hoping so. I was only like 35 at the time. I wanted to keep it real. Well, I was looking for about, 35. I was looking for 45, 55. I was looking for 30 out of Andy. That'd get me to 65. Everybody votes with their pocketbook, right? You know what they say? Now, you know what? We've had this conversation before, right? I'm an Andy guy, and I think that the Eagles fans are going to really look back on the Andy Reid era whenever it ends, and they're going to say that was a great run. If they win a championship in the next couple of years, I'm going to be very hopeful that it's not when they play against the Ravens in the Super Bowl. So it's our main concern. What's that?
When you guys picked up John Caldwell for the months back, how much do you see once he gets a chance to kind of sit down with Joe? What do you think he could do for Joe? Just in terms of things he can work with?
Right. Well, Joe and Jim have already spoken a bunch of times. I've talked to Joe and I've talked to Jim. And I think they're hitting it off really well. Jim is really spending his time right now learning the offense and contributing to the offense. And you rebuild your schemes every year. If you don't, you fall behind. So Jim's a big part of rebuilding the offense too. But Jim is the #1 thing he's going to do is he's going to bring to the table, I think, a great record of teaching fundamentals to the quarterback and teaching some of the nuances that over the course of 30 years of coaching he's learned. And that's going to help Joe a lot.
What kind of role do you see for Sergio Kindle? What does he need to do this offseason? Oz mentioned that it's a big offseason for him. What does he need to do?
Well, it's Sergio's first offseason, so it's going to be very valuable for him. We're looking for big improvement. He's coming from a major injury where he had severe nerve damage to being a productive player in the National Football League. And I think what the Ravens did to facilitate that is unparalleled in the National Football League. I don't know of anybody that's stuck with a guy with this kind of injury, an off-field injury, ever in the history of the league. Maybe you guys can find one, but I don't know if it's ever happened for him or whatever. So if he comes back and becomes a player in the National Football League, it's going to be an unparalleled accomplishment. But you know what? We think it can happen, and we're going to know by the end of training camp. And I'm really hopeful that he can get that done. I'm excited if he can, because he's really a talented guy and he's a good guy.
How important was it for you guys to see McKinney? I know he's had some conditioning issues in the past. When he arrived at the complex, how much did that affect your decision to pick up his basketball?
You use like how much, and you use like terms that that are quantitative. It was how less that we saw that was really important. It was how little we saw that we really put value on, and he's done a good job. He's been working the off season. He's been training, and he's really close to being. He's in the same shape he was in when he left, game shape wise. But we want to improve that from now until it starts next season. So it's going to be really important what he does between now and when the off-season program starts on through June. That he gets in the kind of shape he's going to need to be in. I'm talking about weight-wise to finish his career the way he wants to finish it, and then to go on with his life, quality of life-wise. And he's capable of doing it. This guy's got a good body composition. It's not like he's a big fat guy. He's a big guy, okay? But we still want him to be able to move a little better and be a little quicker. And he's really committed to that. He's excited about attacking out, and it's a big goal of his.
If you love Baltimore sports, you'll love WNST.net.